Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mercy and I'm back here with another video. Thank you all for continuing to engage with my content while I've been away. It wasn't intentional, but I'm glad that I was able to rest. And now I'm coming back with some heat right now because I'm about to share with y'all the 2 times, not once, but twice was I deceived. Thinking that some man was my husband. I fell into the kingdom marriage spouse trickery. And so stay tuned if you want to hear about all that I endured during those times. And I'm really sharing it because I want to help prevent others from having to go through the same things and realizations that I came to. But without further ado, if you are new, welcome. I'm glad to have you. We talk about all things faith, lifestyle, fashion, and beauty, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today on this video because it's going to be a really good one. It's going to be juicy, so stay tuned to the end while I share some valuable lessons that I learned throughout my process. And so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next clip. All right, y'all. I don't even know where I should begin, but let's start with 2021. I had just turned 23. I was probably at the lowest that I had ever been in my life. I was depressed, but I didn't know that it was all because of birth control, but that was a side tangent. I finally got off birth control a year later, and things started to improve. But lo and behold, I was depressed. I had, for the first time, I had like a void for actual like relationship, for love. I think I've always had it, but at this point it was super strong and I really wanted to be in a relationship. So then I turned 23 in August. Fast forward to September, I start chatting up with someone on Instagram, and it was just really like friendly, like platonic vibes, but he was my type. And yeah, we just went from kind of just talking every day to, hey, like, what do you want from this or whatever. And slowly it began to develop into more than friendship. But in the beginning stages, I will say that around this time is the same time that I started tapping into my prophetic side that I had never, like, it had just been awakened in me that year. And when I was, you know, messaging this person back and forth, I felt like the Lord was speaking to me heavily about this person. And lo and behold, I get a word, I get a download directly from God. Like, I'm just like, why am I having these thoughts about this person? Like, why am I hearing these words in my spirit? And so I figured it was from God. So I just told him, hey, like, this is what I feel like the Lord is saying. And it was encouragement. It was like a word of knowledge. And from there, I was kind of like, God has never used me like that, you know, when it's dealing with men. So I was already kind of starting to get like this feeling like, okay, is this something serious? Like, is this the guy that God chose for me? Like, so I'm already starting to question stuff. But I was, you know, still playing it cool, like not assuming. I didn't want to assume. So continues to go on, and the conversation starts to get a little perverted, a lot of sexual on his end, and me not having or standing on boundaries, not having any boundaries. I didn't have any boundaries at 23. It was just a downward slope from there. I called him out on it the first time, and I was at the point when I was like, okay, Lord, like, this conversation has just completely went left. I don't want to go back to where you brought me from. And so I was like, I will cut this off right now, Lord. Like, you tell me what you want me to do. And in that moment, I heard the Lord say, grace. Show him grace. And he reminded me of just everything that I had went through throughout my life concerning sexual perversion and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's what I did. I showed him grace, and we had a conversation, and it brought us closer. So our connection or our friendship or relationship became a little deeper. But over the course of time, like it was like I was talking to a wall. He was not, showing himself, his character. Well, his character was showing through his lack of action behind his words. But yeah, like he was just not opening up. He had definitely a guard up for sure. And mind you, after like 6 months, I'm noticing this, like nothing's changing. I'm like, okay, how do you feel about me? Like, what do you want to, just stuff like that. And I should have just known from there to just chill off him. But I continued to give him grace. But really, what I was doing was using what the Lord told me in a moment. I took that and I figured, well, if he wants me to show him grace now, then he must want me to really be in his life, right? So yeah, after 6 months, I was like, okay, I kind of went off on him because I'm just like, you don't call me, you never come to see me. Like, mind you, he was in a different city, like an hour and a half away. And I was just like, I just went off on him through text. And I was basically like, you have a wall up, you're not letting me in. Like, I'm not about to sit here and beg you to open up to me. And I was good. Because one thing about it, I'm not about to sit here and like, I see everything. I pick up on a lot of things. And because I'm quiet, a lot of people think I don't be seeing stuff. And I really be seeing everything. You know what I'm saying? So I noticed every little thing, but I chose to show him grace. And I said this in one video when I was giving advice about dating, that there is a fine line between showing grace and accepting disrespect. And this is the line that I continue to cross throughout this relationship. And so I wanted so bad for it to become a committed relationship. Like, we had a lot in common with our upbringing. Our friend group was well knitted together, and yeah, I just felt like it would have been perfect at the time. And so yeah, he ghosted me for probably 3 weeks until I saw him in person at an event, and then we reconnected there. Went off on him again in person. But yeah, you see the pattern. Like, it's just not healthy. And so instead of me just accepting like this man is truly not interested or does not want to pursue me, I continued to wait and wait and wait. And I don't recommend that for anybody. Live your life. I was literally at a point where I was planning my future based on what I thought our relationship would become, and it never did. So yeah, I also, let me note this, I mentioned this person to my prophetic friends. There was one who was like, absolutely not, you need to, no, he's not it. And we were just becoming friends at that point, so I really wasn't trying to hear her like that. But the other, like, I would have dreams, and I would tell my prophetic friends about the dreams, and they would always encourage me, like, oh, like, they really believed with me, like, this was my person, like, this is somebody that God might have intended for me. And so it was never like so obvious, because I was literally sharing things with them, and they never had like any red flags or any like, oh, cut them off. So I just want to clarify this part, because it is not to say that the people who were giving me these interpretations and these words were false prophets or prophesied falsely. Joshua Giles literally spoke on this, and it resonated so deeply with me. And he said that he went through a season where he would literally receive one prophetic word and then receive another one that was the exact opposite of what he heard from the first person. And he said that God allowed this so that he could form a greater dependency on the voice of God and not the voice of man. And I feel like this season that I went through was literally that exact thing. Like, I was too dependent on prophetic voices and man, which is why I got caught up in the kingdom marriage prophetic words all over YouTube. And so I just want to clarify that my friends are not false prophets. They did not prophesy falsely. They did not interpret falsely, but Sometimes God will allow you to go through seasons like this so that you can form a greater dependency on Him alone. So, yeah, it was just a mess. It took me a long time to really understand like why everything happened the way it did, because I was very confused. Like, I was hearing from God. I know I was hearing from God, and I know that, you know, God was using me to, now I know that God was using me to draw him to him, not to me. And this is something that I realized afterward. Like, God literally sent me to this man to be a mercy to him, so that he, in God's loving kindness, was shown through me, so that he would be drawn to God, to the Father. And I really feel like that was the purpose of that relationship. And it just gets worse, because even after I cut him off, after about 10 months of us going back and forth and being friends, we visited with each other a couple times, or a few times throughout that time, and we had a good connection. Like, I will say that, like, it felt real, but he wasn't ready. And I personally feel like maybe my faith in God was intimidating to him, because he wasn't as strong in that area. And so, yeah, after I cut him off, which was 2022, I was like, I don't know where I was mentally, but I was watching these kingdom marriage videos and all of these prophets saying, oh, he's coming back to you, God is just doing a work in him, oh, da da da, he's a prodigal son. Girl, I fell into that so bad, and I was literally using those videos as my hope, waiting for him to come back to me, thinking that he was coming back. Like, and it wasn't like it wasn't amicable. Like, I literally cut him off and I blocked him. So we were not good. But I thought that, you know, God was going to humble him, and he was going to train him up and by the Holy Spirit, and teach him how to be a husband. And like, I really thought like that was going to be my story. And I convinced myself of that. And that was the deception that I fell into, like listening to these fake prophetic voices all over YouTube. And they're still going. There's literally so many channels talking about kingdom marriages, telling these women that the guy who disrespected them and downgraded them, or what's the word I'm saying? Anyway, disrespected them, is coming back to them. And while that may be the case for some, that's not my story. And now I know that. So that was the first deception. I waited probably another year. So 2023, I finally cut the soul tie with this person. It was right before my birthday. It was the beginning of August. I had done a fast, and I was listening to a prayer line, and the lady was calling out different topics that they were going to pray about. And that specific day, she said, we're going to pray against soul ties. And boy, did I have a soul tie real bad. Real bad. And we prayed. So mind you, let me go back. Sorry, this is a lot. Let me go back, because my friend, that same friend that was like, no, he's not it, she told me, make sure you don't have a soul tie. You should pray against that. And because my heart was still attached to him, and I still wanted him to come back, I prayed about the soul tie, but I didn't pray it from my heart. I just prayed it from my mouth. And so when you pray without, you know, your heart, then it doesn't count. So yeah, y'all, I'm sitting here like, Lord, I pray against every soul tie, deliver me, Lord, da da da. And that's how I prayed it. And then after I didn't feel the difference, I was like, well, that means, I guess it must mean that he's my man, he's my husband. So I mean, I don't feel like the soul tie broke. So, and I prayed. And then come like 2 months later, when it was like August, and I did that fast, and I heard that lady say, let's pray against soul ties. I was so ready to be free, because I had finally accepted the truth that this was not my story. and I genuinely wanted to break the soul tie. So after I prayed that day, oh man, I woke up the next morning feeling so free. Like literally the heaviness and everything just lifted off of me. I did not think of him, and I did not long for him like I used to. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the soul tie's broken. Oh my gosh. And I was just so happy. And literally, y'all, 2 days later, I went to a celebration. My bad, y'all, my camera is tripping. Just had to clear the memory card. But yeah, so I broke the soul tie, right? That was like August 2nd or 3rd, I want to say. August 5th, I literally went to a birthday celebration. No, it wasn't a birthday celebration. It was something else. But it was a celebration dinner. And 2 days later, I literally met this man at this dinner. And I was not looking for anybody. I was not trying to do anything. Like, I had just broke the soul tie. I was just feeling free. And I met this guy. And he was Nigerian. As if y'all don't know, I am also Nigerian. He was a worshiper. And I met him that night. And we exchanged numbers. He asked for my number. And we ended up talking that night for 6 hours. I went to sleep at 5 a.m. after 5 a.m. And it was just so natural. It was such a good conversation. Like we got to really know each other in those 6 hours. Like, we asked deep questions, intentional questions, and it just flowed. It just flowed so well. So I really want to point out quickly something that I left out, and that's how we ended up talking at this dinner in the first place. The whole dinner, I was sitting right across from him at a whole different table, but we were facing each other, and I kept saying how familiar he looked, but I had never met him. I had never seen him before, but he just looked so familiar to me, and I could not put a finger on it. So when I was leaving, I walked out of the restaurant, and he was literally standing outside with his friend, and something just like literally prompted me to ask him, like, do I know you? Like, have you been to my church or something? And he's like, no. And so from there, we started a conversation, and he asked for my number then. But I just want to point this out because it's very important. This is how connections are formed. This was a familiar spirit, and this was prior to my deliverance. Something attached to me was yearning and desiring men like him with this same familiar spirit of narcissism and pride. And this is what I need y'all to understand. Do not miss this. The point is, Satan will literally use familiarity to get you bound. Catch it. And I was shocked to find out that he was 10 years older than me. Now at this time, I'm 25. I just turned, or I'm about to turn 25. And I was a little like, I always said like I wanted my man to be no more than 5, at the most 6 years older than me. So 10 was really pushing it for me. But because, you know, he looked young, he acted like he had a youthful spirit, I was like, okay, well maybe, you know, I can overlook that, right? Never did that. So yeah, he ended up taking me out for a late birthday celebration, which was really nice. He didn't have to do that, but you know, he did, and we had a great time. During these 2 weeks, we're FaceTiming all the time. So after we go out for my birthday, we continue seeing each other. Like, I started seeing him like every day. I would always go stop by his place, whatever. I come to find out throughout this time that he is a part of his worship team at his church. He plays multiple instruments. So not only is he musically talented and inclined, which is what I always wanted in my partner, he also was very heavily knowledgeable of the Bible. Like, he knew scripture, and he could it would literally just come up out of him as he would talk. And so I'm thinking like, wow, this is too good to be true. Like, this man literally checks off everything on my non-existent list. And he was on the shorter end, but I really liked him. And I don't, like, when I tell y'all, my friends know I don't like a lot of people. Like, it is very hard for me to like somebody for real. And so the fact that I liked him, like really liked him, was throwing me. And I was like, okay, so then I got to thinking, and I was like, okay, so you know how I just broke that soul tie? Like, maybe that's all I needed to do in order to find my true man. And so here I am thinking like, okay, this is my man. Like, why would he not be? Like, it's literally perfect. We sang and we worshiped together. We would just go out to the grocery store and just spend time with each other. Like, it was literally like a relationship, but we were not committed to each other. Another thing is that I experienced the exact same non-committal behavior that I experienced with the first guy, with this man. And he acted so intentional in the beginning, and as soon as that date was over, everything stopped. All of a sudden, he's afraid of commitment. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. He's not ready. Da 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 da. So now it's the same pattern. I had my hopes so high for this one, and then they quickly crashed right after that. So just like the first guy, I end up waiting around for not as long, but I still waited around for him, thinking that things were going to change and that he was going to get ready for me. And I come to find out, after hanging out with him a lot, you know, I realized, okay, this also is turning sexual real quick, really quick. So then I started seeing that he lacked self-control. He lacked self-control. So I'm trying to do the math. At this point, I'm confused because I'm trying to do the calculations and it's just not adding up. Like, you are so gifted, so knowledgeable about the word, but you lack self-control, which is a fruit of the spirit. And then every time I would bring up, you know, setting boundaries, he would literally laugh. Like, he would literally laugh. That should have been the red flag to leave ASAP. He would laugh when I brought up boundaries. So not only did he lack self-control, he wasn't even putting in the intentionality to have self-control. Like, he wasn't even trying to set boundaries to have self-control. And that was the realization that I had after the fact. And it was so crazy. I had been so emotionally just drained from that situation that after I completely cut him off for good, I was so done. I was so done. I didn't even want to talk to another man. Like, I literally told my friends when I met him in the beginning that if this was not it, then I would have to be Pauletta and be single. I'm good. I'm okay with being single for the rest of my life. And that's literally how I felt at the end of that relationship. Like, it was so bad. And he was a narcissist, come to find out. And so after that, that's when I recognized the pattern. Like, okay, why is every man that I talk to patterning the same characteristics, and why is it always turning into something sexual so quickly, but there's never any commitment? And so that's when I realized that this was a familiar spirit I was dealing with, and it was going to follow me into every type of relationship, every romantic relationship, until I recognize it and cut the tie. Like, to say that I was married to Jezebel or married to a spirit, like, I think that that is appropriate, because literally every single man, even the men before these two, they all carry the same characteristics, and it all ended the same way. And so I'm just like, okay, this is actually crazy. And I thank God that I'm single right now. This is the first time in my life since I was probably 14 that I have not been involved romantically, emotionally, spiritually or mentally with any man. And I am just so happy. I'm so happy and I'm so content. Like, I know y'all see me glowing. Like, that is the Lord. That is the Lord. He did this. And through all these revelations and realizations, I was able to come to this point of true contentment in the Lord. And after I received my deliverance, if you haven't seen my deliverance video, you can watch that on my channel. After my deliverance, that desire and that void that I wanted to be in a relationship so bad, it left me. And I'm truly content. I'm truly content. And one thing that I learned that has increased my discernment is that just because they have gifts and that they can be used by God does not mean that they are in right standing with the Lord. And that does not mean that they are fit to be your kingdom spouse, or whatever y'all want to call that. I learned so much from that last situation, and I just thank God that it did not destroy me and that He delivered me from all of that. And I just wanted to tell this testimony because still to this day, like the enemy still tries to remind me of that situation and try to pull me back in. But the word says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so this is my testimony of how I came out of these situations. And I'm just so glad that God opened my eyes, and I pray that He also opens all of your eyes, all those who are watching this, who are single, who are dating, who are maybe entertaining the wrong people. Let this be a testimony and a witness that there is better, and that God, like, God's will for you is His best. Like, He doesn't want us to suffer. He doesn't want us to struggle just to find love and commitment. That is not His purpose for His daughters, especially His chosen ones. And so I pray this encourages you, and I thank y'all for staying to the end. And I pray, that you're blessed by this and that you can take something away from this video. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.